कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्णा। थैंक यू मैम। जय श्री श्री राधा गोविंद देव श्री श्री गौर निताय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। सेकंड। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च। श्रीरूपं सागरजाता सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत श्री राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, welcome everyone to today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 15, entitled The Pandavas Retire Timely. So last time we discussed the different speculative inquiries from Maharaj Yudhishthir to Arjun, because although his intelligence could conclude about Lord Krishna's departure from this world, his heart was not willing to accept it. And he tried to convince somehow himself of every other opportunity to justify the bad omens he could see all around, and to justify the dejection on the face of Arjuna upon his return from Dwaraka. But finally, when he could not get Arjun to respond to any of his speculative inquiries, then finally he asked Arjun whether it was that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, who was their constant well wisher, benefactor, and also stayed with them as one of their own, as family member, has departed, has concluded his pastimes from this world and has departed. And in this particular chapter, Hare Krishna. Are you still able to hear me, Prabhuji's, Mataji's?
Yes,
No
Prabhu.
disturbance.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay. And in this particular chapter, we see Arjuna's own intense feelings of separation from the Lord, where he recollects one after another different favors that are bestowed by Lord Krishna, the empowerment bestowed by Lord Krishna upon Arjuna and all other Pandavas time and again. So we just started this particular portion, and many of these purports are very, very important in respect to the practical applications that we can learn, the conclusions we can draw from Arjuna's intense recollection of Lord Krishna. And we also discussed last time how this attachment to Lord Krishna, both by Yudhishthir Maharaj, by Arjuna, and rest of the members of the Pandavas family, it was not on the sentimental platform. How did we conclude that, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? That this attachment, it was not just the crying of tears in separation from Lord Krishna. What does signify that this attachment of the Pandavas towards Lord Krishna was not on the sentimental platform? Anyone? Devotees can raise their hands, whoever wants to answer. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rasarangini Mataji, either you can make me host or make few more devotees co-host also. Prem Prakash Prabhu, Murli Prabhu, and yeah, Devika Mataji and everyone else. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu, I will make you the host.
Okay.
Saving the recording. That is
Okay. All right. Murli Prabhu, Hare Krishna, you can unmute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Last week we discussed about the the feelings of Maharaj Yudhishthir, and we compared it with various other devotees who also had a similar impact. Yeah, and one of the ones which we discussed in detail was little bit more in detail was Maharaj Dashrath, about his feeling for his not only as a son but also as a lord. 2 times he had separations. Yeah, both these points we discussed. First was when he was sent to protect
Vishwamitra.
sage Vishwamitra and his disciples against attacks. Yeah. Second one was the after the Maharani Kaikeyi's request that Rama should be banished to 14. So both the times it was not. We said that it was not sentimental. It was more on the level of spiritual level. The loss.
Yes, it was on the spiritual level, specifically talking about Pandavas, specifically Yudhishthir Maharaj and Arjun. How we can understand that their separation from the Lord, their attachment towards the Lord, it was not on the sentimental platform. There is one very specific clue that comes in this chapter, which we haven't covered all the verses, but we did touch upon this point briefly in our last discussion. Anyone recollects, Hare Krishna? Or based on your reading of this chapter? Just the point without going into much details. All right. So the point what we had discussed was that Pandavas did not simply cry. More importantly, Arjun, Yudhishthir, and all the Pandavas, they recollected the instructions given by the Lord, acknowledging all the favors that He has bestowed, and they did take concrete steps to uplift themselves from this lamentation and to decide on their further course of action. They did not just sit crying. Like, say, for example, of course, the other example we can give is a very crude example, that of Dhritarashtra, who remained in the mode of lamentation after his sons, after he lost his men and money, but still remained attached in the form of the comfort that were offered by Yudhishthir and the Pandavas. He remained attached and was living at those comforts at their cost. But Pandavas did not display that type of behavior. After Lord left, they did recollect the Lord's instruction. They understood the purpose for which the Lord had bestowed those favors, those powers for a very specific purpose for a limited period of time. And now that those powers have been withdrawn by the Lord, what to do next? They were very clear because of remembering the instructions of the Lord. However, in the case of Dhritarashtra, he had to be reminded in a very, very severe manner by Vidura, and then he could come to his senses and develop detachment on the very preliminary platform. So we will see some of these verses as we proceed in the chapter. Any other devotees have any questions, comments, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, before we proceed? Hare Krishna. All right. Connection between chapter 13 and 14, everyone is clear? Today we had a question, of course, on this particular, of course, but between chapter 14 and 15, I mean, that birth of Maharaj Parikshit and the departure of Lord Krishna and Pandavas retiring timely manner. Everybody is clear what is the connection. So last chapter we have seen Yudhishthir Maharaj's finally accepting Lord Krishna's departure. And this particular chapter begins with Arjuna's intense feelings of separation from Lord Krishna. Whatever comes subsequently, we will discuss. So this slide I have not changed from the previous chapter. Yeah. So in this particular chapter, there is a section of verses, text 24 to 31st, where Arjuna specifically focuses upon Lord's instructions. And remembering those instructions, all the Pandavas, along with Draupadi, Queen Kunti, they attain perfection in their life. And we had also touched upon briefly, becoming a pure devotee does not mean that one is freed out of the inconveniences, discomforts in this material world. As will be seen more graphically in the next portion, all these 5 Pandava brothers and the wife Draupadi and mother Kunti, it didn't happen that they all passed all together and all. Everybody passed at a different juncture of their retirement. So that we will see. But glorious part is what was their destination, how subsequently they did achieve their constitutional position of being an associate of the Lord. So this we covered, we proceed further. Yeah, so maybe we'll just slightly cover this part again so that there is continuity, and then we will proceed further. Importance of remembering Lord's empowerment in all we do. Any devotee would like to read through Prabhuji's, Mataji's? quickly. Gita Pradeep Mataji, Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Importance of remembering Lord's empowerment in all we do. Text 1.15.5. No one therefore can be independently powerful in any measure without being endowed by the Lord. When the Lord descends to the earth along with his eternal, ever-liberated associates, he not only displays the divine energy possessed by himself, but also empowers his associate devotees with the required energy to execute his mission of incarnation. The power and energy which were bestowed upon Arjuna were required for fulfillment of the mission of the Lord. But when his mission was fulfilled, the emergency powers were withdrawn from Arjuna because the astounding powers of Arjuna, which were astonishing even to the denizens of heaven, were no longer required, and they were not meant for going back home, back to Godhead. SP 1.15.5 forward.
Thank you.
Lesson.
Thank you, Mataji. So
Yeah.
here we see the empowerment is given by the Lord for a very specific purpose, and that purpose is to fulfill the Lord's mission. And these powers are subsequently taken away by the Lord when he feels that they are no more required. And why they are taken away? Because these astonishing powers that are provided temporarily to empower the devotees, they are not a necessity to go back home, back to Godhead. And we will see what is the necessity. As such, we know what is the necessity, Gita Mataji, to go back home, back to Godhead. Do we need the skills, the power, and all these wonderful feats that the Pandavas could achieve to go back home, back to Godhead? What is needed?
Devotional service.
Yes, only devotional service. We saw that so many verses from Bhagavad Gita that only one particular quality which Krishna is interested in devotees is not how much they are skilled, how great achievements they can achieve, but how devoted they are, what is their remembrance of the Supreme Lord. Mataji, please proceed with the lesson.
Yes, Prabhuji. Lesson. The lesson is therefore that no one should be puffed up for his powers borrowed from the Lord. The same man should rather feel obliged to the Lord for such benefactions and must utilize such power for the service of the Lord. Such power can be withdrawn at any time by the Lord. So the best use of such power and opulence is to engage them in the service of the Lord.
Yes, Srimad Bhagavatam
Yes,
115.5
1.15.5.
purport. Yeah.
Thank you.
A devotee should neither be puffed up of his skills, nor he be lamenting lack of any specific skills, but should use whatever Lord has endowed him with in Lord's service. So Srila Prabhupada used to say a very powerful statement quite often, that don't be proud of borrowed blooms. That means whatever has been offered by the Lord in the form of strength, wealth, beauty, fame, knowledge, renunciation, all these opulences are granted temporarily for a very specific purpose. And since that opulence doesn't belong to us originally, we should never ever be proud of that, because they can be taken away any moment as the Lord feels appropriate. Neither we should be lamenting when they are taken away. The Pandavas are not at all lamenting, even for a moment, that why did Krishna take away those power just little bit longer? He could have kept them with us till the time we go back home, back to Godhead. Arjuna is not lamenting that. Arjuna is lamenting probably his inability to render some basic service which was required in terms of, say, protecting the queens of Dwarka and all. But more than lamenting that, he is acknowledging the Lord's empowerment, that whatever wonderful feats I could achieve till now, it was only because of Krishna's empowerment. And these prayers we saw last time, just the translation of these prayers, how even this quality can be seen even in other great devotees of the Lord, including Lord Brahma, whose power to secondarily create this creation. using the ingredients that have been given by the Lord. What does it mean by secondary creation? Because all these ingredients in terms of earth, water, fire, air, ether, the senses, the sense objects, and the intelligence to create using all this, the different material bodies for 8.4 million species of life, all that has been given to Lord Brahma by Lord Krishna. So he is the primary creator and Lord Brahma is the secondary creator. So even Lord Brahma prays as part of his prayers to Lord Krishna in text 23 that we can see on the screen, that he prays that I not be materially affected by my works, that my dear Lord, that you are empowering me so much to do this grand task, but please make sure that I don't be materially affected by performing all these great feats. For thus I may be able to give up the false prestige of being the creator. Then only I will be able to give up the false prestige. So this we saw last time. So yeah, let us proceed. This verse also we went through, Prabhuji's, Mataji's. If not, we can just quickly cover. Anybody can just mention.
We didn't cover, Prabhuji.
Didn't cover. All right. So let's recite this verse. So this comes in so basically the creation part has been started in Srimad Bhagavatam from Canto 2 onwards. However, the Shaunakadi Rishis, the sages of Naimisharanya, in between, they do ask about Vidura. What happens to Vidura afterwards, after he leaves the palace of Pandavas along with Dhritarashtra and Gandhari? What happens subsequently? That is the inquiry which comes in between, and after that, the description by Suta Goswami about creation, it proceeds further from Canto 3 onwards also. So this particular verse that is quoted here comes between conversation between Lord Brahma and Narada Muni, where Narada Muni is glorifying his father, he's glorifying Lord Brahma for his feat of creating all the 8.4 million species of life in this particular world. So maybe we'll request one of the devotees, Reena Mataji, Hare Krishna, would you like to recite?
I will try, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Importance of remembering Lord's empowerment in all we do. Lord Brahma's reply to Narada's enquiries. Na bharati me anga mrushopalakshyate, na vai vachin me manaso mrushagatihi, na me rushikani patanti asatpate, yanme rudau kantyavata druto harihi. O Narada, because I have caught hold of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari with great zeal, whatever I say has never proved to have been false, nor is the progress of my mind ever deterred, nor are my senses ever degraded by temporary attachment to matter. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 6, verse 34. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So here, Lord Brahma is giving credit for everything that he has been able to achieve to Supreme Lord by saying, Yan me rudau utkanthyavata dhruto harihi. Because I have strongly held on to the lotus feet of Lord Hari within my heart, I have been able to achieve A, B, and C. So this is the mood of all great devotees. So let us start with today's verses. So from text 7 onwards, Bhagavatam talks about the various recollections of Arjun, recollecting various instances when Lord Krishna specifically empowered him, the Pandavas, and protected them in all different great dangers. So Arjuna recollects different instances. Yeah. So we'll start with text 7. Reena Mataji, you can continue, please. So the tune, either you can use the Brahma Samhita tune, or there is one more. What is the other one? One second. Let me just open the Devdagari. Yat samshaya drupadagehen upagatanam rajnyam swayam varamukhe smaradurmadana. So either you can use this or you can use the tune for Brahma Samhita, whatever you are comfortable.
Okay, Prabhuji. Yeah. Yat samshraya drupadageham. Shall I continue, Prabhuji?
Please recite again, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yes,
Yeah.
Mataji.
Yat samshraya drupadageham upagatanam.
Yat
samshaya
drupadageham
upagatanam
Ragnam swayam varamuke smaradurmadanam.
Rajnyam swayamvaramuke smaradurmadhanam
Tejo vrutam kalu maya vihatascha matyaha.
Tejo vrutam kalu maya avihatascha matyaha
Sajji krutena danusha digata cha Krishna.
Sajje krutena danusha gata cha Krishna.
Translation. Hare Krishna. Translation.
Because he was near me, it was possible. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
Because he was near me, it was possible for me to come.
Sorry, only by his merciful strength. Okay, I'll recite.
Sorry, Prabhuji. Only by his merciful strength was I able to vanquish all the lusty princes assembled at the palace of King Drupada for the selection of the bridegroom. With my bow and arrow, I could pierce the fish target and thereby gain the hand of Draupadi.
Yes, thank you, Mataji.
You want me to continue purport, Prabhuji?
So some of these purports are quite long. So in order to save time, only few purports we will go through, but others I will just briefly summarize. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in detail the pastime of Arjuna winning the hand of Draupadi, the daughter of King Drupada, that both King Drupada as well as his daughter Draupadi wanted to marry Arjuna, but in order to facilitate that, Drupada kept a condition for different Kshatriya princes who would come to get Draupadi's hand, that they needed to pierce the eye of a fish which was hung within the internal ceiling of the palace, and that fish was protected by a rolling wheel. So the Kshatriya prince had to look at the reflection in the water of that prince and then shoot the eye of the fish. And Drupad knew for sure that only Arjun could do it, or apart from Arjun, there was one more person, Karna, who could do it. But when Karna also came forward to compete in that particular Swayamvara, then Draupadi mentioned through her brother what was Drupad's son's name. Draupadi's brother, Drishtadyumna, that Karna cannot participate in this because nobody less than a Kshatriya can participate. And then Karna felt offended, and Arjuna subsequently won the Swayamvar and won Draupadi's hand, but still Karna and all other princes who had assembled there, they fought against Arjuna when he was taking Draupadi along with him and subsequently were defeated by Arjuna. So Arjuna in this particular verse is recollecting the empowerment by Lord Krishna, because of which he could have the strength to fight off Karna and all other princes during the Swayamvar ceremony of Draupadi. So we proceed. One second. Yeah. Who is the other devotee? Vandita Tunga Vidya Mataji. Would you like to recite, Mataji? You had raised your hand.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji. Yassannidhavaham hamukhandavamagnayeda.
Indran cha saumarana raganam tarasa vijitya.
Indram Chasmamraganam Tarasa Vijitya.
Labdha sabha maya krutadbhuta silpamaya.
Labdha Sabhamaya Krita Shilpamaya.
Digbhyo aharas srupatayo balimadhvarete.
Digbyo Haran Balimadhvarete. Translation.
Hare Krishna. Because he was near me, it was possible for me to conquer with great dexterity the powerful king of heaven, Indradeva, along with his demigod associates, and thus enable the fire god to devastate the Khandava forest, and only by his grace was the demon named Maya saved from the blazing Khandava forest, and thus we could build our assembly house of wonderful architectural workmanship, where all the
princes.
Wonderful things Lord Krishna wanted to kill him.
Wait. Where all the princes assembled during the performance of Rajasuya Yagya and paid you tributes. So Arjuna is recollecting the burning of the Khandava forest episode, where Agnidev, basically Arjuna wanted to satisfy Agnidev's hunger by devouring all the forest in the forest fire. And this particular Maya Danav demon, who was one of the resident of that particular forest, it is explained that Krishna wanted to burn all the forest in order to please Agnidev, Arjuna to please Agnidev. But this Maya Danav demon, he took shelter of Arjuna, and Krishna was more pleased for Arjuna to protect the Maya Danav demon, because this demon took shelter of Arjuna. So Krishna is more pleased when somebody takes shelter of his devotees, and subsequently, although Arjuna did not want any favor from Maya Danav for his protection that Arjuna had offered, but Krishna gave service to Maya Danav demon in order to reciprocate this gesture of Arjuna saving him. So this purport is important for few points. We will go through the purport. You can read through the highlighted part, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. For example,
Sorry, Mataji. The demons possess.
the demons possess wonderful and supernatural powers to create material wonders, but they are always disturbing elements of the society. The modern demons are the harmful material scientists who create some material wonders for disturbances in the society. For example, the creation of nuclear weapons has caused some panic in human society. Maya was also a materialist like that, and he knew the art of creating such wonderful things, and yet Lord Krishna wanted to kill him. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So when Mayadana was about to be devoured by the fire, and even Krishna wanted him to be killed, he took shelter of such a devotee as Arjun, who saved him from the wrath of fire of Lord Krishna. You can continue, Mataji. Devotees.
Where, Prabhuji? Devotees.
Devotees are therefore.
It's
That is fine, Mataji. If you are discussing. Divya Rukmini, Mataji, you are comfortable reading quickly? You can unmute.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, purport.
Devotees are
Yeah,
therefore.
devotees are therefore more merciful than the Lord, and in devotional service, the mercy of a devotee is more valuable than the mercy of the Lord. Both the fire and the Lord cease from chasing the demon as soon as both of them saw that the demon was given shelter by such a devotee as Arjuna.
Continue.
Okay. Lord Krishna, however, being pleased with Maya for his taking shelter of a devotee, asked him to render service unto King Yudhishthira by building a wonderful assembly house. The process is that by the grace of the devotee, the mercy of the Lord is obtained, and by the mercy of the Lord, a chance to serve the Lord's devotee is obtained.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. So there are so many examples we can see in the scripture of a devotee, not a devotee, any entity for that matter, he displeasing the Lord because of ABC behavior, and Lord even abandoning such a person for some reason. But because this person continues to take shelter of the devotee, subsequently Lord forgives him. And not only does Lord forgive him, he is also engaged in Lord's service by the mercy of that devotee and attains perfection in his life. So there are many examples to reflect on this particular point, but specifically I have quoted as part of this discussion example of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's personal servant. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu desired to go on South India trip, he did not want to take anybody with him, but the devotees instructed that, my dear Lord, you would be traveling, chanting ecstatically the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and Kirtan, dancing ecstatically, and nobody would be there to take care of your belongings. So please carry at least one person with you who could take care of your belongings and make sure you have fresh clothes every place you go. You can wear those and take care of your day-to-day activities, support you with the day-to-day activities like cooking, etc. And so, based on the insistence of the devotees, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agreed to take one devotee with him as his personal assistant. He was Kala Krishna Das on South India Yatra. And this Kala Krishna Das, imagine he is in the personal association of Lord Krishna, day and night traveling alongside the Lord, and he fell to the bad association of a particular tribe called Bhattaharis. And this particular tribe, they were engaged in all types of sinful activities, including unrestricted association with women and eating forbidden food and all that. So breaking the regulatory principles. And Kala Krishna Das, being influenced by their bad association, actually left the service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, company of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And since Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had taken him along with him at the insistence of devotees, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rescued Kala Krishna Das because he didn't want to leave him in the wrong company of Bhattaharis and get degraded. So he somehow pulled Kala Krishna Das back by his Shikha, and the Bhattaharis, that particular tribe, attacked Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and subsequently Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu defended. Basically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna himself. So just by his desire, the Bhattaharis were counterattacked, and basically both Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Kala Krishna Das, nothing happened to them. But when the 2 years trip to South India was over, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came back to Jagannath Puri, he handed over Kala Krishna Das to Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, and all other devotees, and saying that, look, I had told you I don't want to take anybody with me. You gave me this devotee, and just because of your insistence, I took him with me. And what did he do? He got into the wrong association of the Bhattaharis, and I have nothing to do with him anymore. Take your devotee back. So as such, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu abandoned Kala Krishna Das. He was not very pleased with the behavior of Kala Krishna Das. And Kala Krishna Das became very morose, and he felt guilty for whatever wrong he had done. Such an opportunity he had got to associate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and serve him personally, and he had given up that association and service just to uh, join the bad association of these Bhattaharis. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu abandoned Kala Krishna Das, he felt very morose and despondent. But the devotees of the Lord, they were so merciful that Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu sent Kala Krishna Das to Bengal to narrate to Sachi Mata and all other devotees in Bengal the different pastimes that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed during his South India tour. So they assigned this specific service to Kala Krishna Das, and Kala Krishna Das was not only he stayed connected to devotional service, but he could also render wonderful service and could serve devotees and please Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, and all other devotees in Bengal. So what is the conclusion? Conclusion is that by devotee's mercy, a person attains Lord's mercy. And by Lord's mercy, that person attains service to the devotees. So these are both reciprocal. Nobody can approach the Lord directly, and even if there are disqualifications, if a devotee gives shelter to an entity, Lord will also accept him for sure. And once the Lord gives his mercy to a person, the result is he gets opportunity to render service to the devotees. So we saw Kala Krishna Das example. Before we proceed to the next example, any questions, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, on this story of devotees showing their mercy to Kala Krishna Das, who was abandoned by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because of his misbehavior?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, one by one. Rasarangini Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, this one I'm clear, but just prior to this, you had told that about Arjuna, where a devotee takes shelter of the of Krishna's devotee. Krishna is even more in love. So, is it the same concept with respect to Balaram also, which we read in chapter 14, that he is called Satvika Pumalanam because he is a servitor godhead, but he is also a devotee of Krishna. So, that is why do they say that you have to approach Krishna, you have to go through Balaram? Or is that the same context, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji. So the sure short way to please Lord Krishna is to approach Krishna through the medium of his devotees. And as will also be clear in the second example that we will see.
Sure,
so yeah, that is the more secure way and easier way that Krishna will definitely be pleased. Because if we approach Krishna directly and the shortcomings we have, definitely in our condition state, there is a chance that we may displease the Lord. But if we approach Krishna, there are umpteen number of examples. Many of these we will also cover in the subsequent slides, where a devotee has, a normal person has agreed to render service based on the authority of a devotee. And even if there were discrepancies, Krishna did accept that person because he came through the authority of devotees. So we'll see more examples also. Hare Krishna. Ajit Tiwari Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, relating to the same example of Bal Krishna Das which you just gave, and one query, Prabhuji, that similar offense was done by Chota Haridas also, but he was also abundant. But later on, uh, similar mercy was not given to him.
So,
So what is the difference between the two? What happened wrong?
yeah. So in case of Chota Haridas, it is not true that he didn't get subsequent mercy. He did receive, but he received in a different scenario. See, Chota Haridas's example, he was a sannyasi first of all. Krishna Das was not a sannyasi. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very, very specific about sannyasis, that even a mental fall down for sannyasis, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't accept it, and he wanted to set a very high example for this particular order of Varnashram system. So Krishna Das had mentally thought wrong about a particular woman, and he repented. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being Paramatma, came to know, he abandoned Chota Haridas, but subsequently Chota Haridas committed suicide. And when devotees informed this news to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said it was okay, like it was correct for him to repent in that particular manner. But Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that for the practicing devotees in our movement, it is possible because of our conditioning that there would be fall downs. So it is not that that particular punishment meted out to Chota Haridas applies to everyone. But subsequently, how do we understand that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did reinstate him or gave him mercy? That even after Chota Haridas committed suicide, it is explained that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to relish hearing of bhajans and kirtans, and Chota Haridas used to sing for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for his pleasure even after his departure. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepting his service even afterwards does indicate that he didn't abandon him completely. He gave him the temporary punishment just to set an ideal standard for the conduct of a sannyas order. But he didn't abandon him forever. Like it was a temporary punishment. Subsequently, he did accept service from from Chota Haridas. Is that all right, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu. Now I got it clear. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Hare Krishna. So, second example which I have mentioned here of another great personality receiving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy just because of he taking shelter of the devotees is King Prataparudra. King Prataparudra, we can Google and check about him that he was the king of Orissa during the time of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was quite impressed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his charm, and devotion of all other devotees, and wanted to have audience, wanted to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refused to meet King Prataparudra because of because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being a sannyasi, saying that a king is by default, he has to engage in so many vishayas, in so many uh, sense object related subject matters. So I am not going to associate with him. And when devotees pushed second time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, if you push me again, I will quit this place and you will never see me again. And devotees became very afraid to bring this subject in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whether he could grant audience to King Prataparudra. However, King Prataparudra did not give up. Of course, he felt disheartened that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not granting me his audience. But what was the crux of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy to Prataparudra? Every year, when the devotees in Bengal used to come to Jagannath Puri during the Chaturmasa season and to attend the Rath Yatra festival and stay with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for some more time after Rath Yatra as well, Prataparudra Maharaj used to diligently make sure that all these devotees coming from Bengal get a very proper accommodation to reside in Jagannath Puri, comfortable accommodation, make sure their lodging, boarding is arranged very nicely. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did note this particular point that look, I am not ready to grant audience to this particular king, but he still consistently rendering service to my devotees. This was the first point. And second point, when Maharaj Prataparudra, his humility of cleaning the road in front of Lord Jagannath's chariot with broom, this particular humility of Maharaj Pratap Rudra, it also melted heart of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And even then, finally, it were the devotees who took right opportunity when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during the Rath Yatra festival was resting in Jagannath Vallabh garden. The devotees brought Maharaj Pratap Rudra in disguise, in a very simple dress of a devotee, and had him massage the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu resting in Jagannath Vallabh garden. And Maharaj Pratap Rudra started reciting the Gopi Git, verses from the Gopi Git, and his earlier service that he had rendered, which had pleased Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and subsequent humility in terms of sweeping the street in front of Jagannath's chariot, and then devotees' mercy in terms of granting personal service to Maharaj Pratap Rudra of massaging Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. Finally, it culminated into Chaitanya Mahaprabhu granting the mercy. And that mercy was also not all of a sudden. When he started reciting the Gopi Git, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went in ecstasy and he said, sing again, sing again. And then Maharaj Pratap Rudra started singing, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then embraced that person and asked who you are. And when Maharaj Pratap Rudra revealed his identity to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for a moment said, oh, that I have embraced a Vishayi. But then seeing Maharaj Pratap Rudra's devotion, that he is not giving up, even if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he is not giving his mercy, Maharaj Pratap Rudra is not giving up rendering of the devotional service, that melted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's heart. And then he bestowed his full grace upon Maharaj Pratap Rudra. So through these examples, we see what is the proper way to approach the Lord, which is through the agency of the devotees, and what is the sure short way. That means that if there are any discrepancies in our service, that will still be corrected, that will still be taken care if we approach the Lord through the agency of devotees. Any questions, comments, Prabhujis, Matajis on these examples? Or there are many examples, few of which we will see in the subsequent slides also. Hare Krishna. Can we proceed, Prabhujis, Matajis? Anyone has any question, query, comment on this? All right. So this is the continuation of the same. So there are few verses that I have quoted. Very famous verse from Canto 1, Chapter 2. What is that title? Divinity and, can someone check the title? Divinity and Divine Service. What is the title? Chapter 2. Divinity and something. So here again it is mentioned that by rendering service to a devotee, only then one receives test to hear about Krishna. And it is also mentioned in chapter Canto 3, Chapter 25, that doors to the liberation open by rendering service to such great devotees. So these are all very famous verses, so we will recite through them. These are very purifying. Can anyone confirm the title, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, quickly? Is it?
Divinity
It's
and
a
divine
divinity.
service.
Okay, Divinity and Divine Service. So this is a very important chapter. And even this particular chapter title, Mataji once, 325, it is the pure devotional service. Just check that.
Oh, Prabhu. It is Krishna is the source of all incarnation.
Okay, Mataji, thank you. So we will quickly go through these verses, very important verses. Divya Rukmini Mataji, you want to recite?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. We are not able to hear you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, you can
Hare
recite.
Krishna. Okay. Sushruta Shraddha
Shushusho Shatadhanasya
Vasudeva Katharuchi
Vasudeva Katharuchi
Yan Mahat Sevaya Vipra
Tyan Mahatsevaya Vipra
Punya Tirtha Nishevanat
Punya Tirtha Nishevanat. Translation.
Translation: O twice born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.16.
In the next prasanga.
Prasangana Prasang Can I continue, Prabhu? Or,
Yes, please continue.
Prasangam ajaran pasham
Prasangam acharam pasam
atmana kavayo vituhu
atmana kavayo viduhu
tayeva sadhu shukradho
tayeva kruto
mokshadvaram abhavrutam.
Mokshadvaram.
Translation: Every learned man knows very well that attachment for the material is the greatest entanglement of the spirit soul. But that same attachment, when applied to the self-realized devotees, opens the door of liberation. Srimad Bhagavatam 3.25.20.
Third one.
Sadan prasangan mama virya sambhito Bhavan vihritkarna rasayana katha Sajjoshanaadashvabhavargavartmani Tadharadirбhaktiranukramyati Translation: In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastime and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. The real devotion and devotional service begin. Srimad Bhagavatam 3.25.25.
Thank you, Mataji. So the conclusion is that the association of devotees is a mercy of the Lord, and by the mercy of the devotees, one gets service to the Lord. So these are reciprocal activities, and we should be grateful that this particular opportunity that we are going to associate, that we are getting to associate with each other year after year, discuss about Srimad Bhagavatam together. It's not an ordinary activity. It is, we must have had some sukruti, and being pleased with that particular small sukruti of ours, Krishna is bestowing this particular opportunity that we are able to glorify him all together. So we should be very, very conscious and grateful for receiving this opportunity. Otherwise, if we consider it as any other opportunity that we receive, then probably we will attend and we will still continue with our materialistic life if we don't acknowledge the importance that this particular sangha, this particular association that I am getting is Lord's mercy upon me, where also many devotees we are trying to learn together Srimad Bhagavatam and glorify the Lord. So we have to have understanding of the opportunity granted by the Lord in terms of association of his devotees, and then utilize it fully. So let me quickly check, are there any other examples which I had planned? Yes, so this we went through. Oops. Yeah, this also we went through. So we proceed with text 9. Any devotees have any questions, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, on this particular aspect of reciprocal relationship between receiving Lord's mercy in the form of the association of the devotees, and through the association of devotees, the outcome is rendering of the service to Lord Krishna. So these are both reciprocal, and right way to approach Lord Krishna is through the medium of his devotees. And we saw so many examples where some XYZ personality, outside speaking, they were not 100% fit, but still Krishna accepted them even with some of the discrepancies, because devotees facilitated that connection. Hare Krishna. Divya Rukmini Mataji wanted to share something. Okay, fine. So let Reena Mataji, you wanted to share something, or you wanted to recite.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Just like I wanted to share, like opposite to this, like even though Dhritarashtra, he had the association of Vidura, and Vidura wanted to deliver Dhritarashtra, but he couldn't do because Dhritarashtra has done Vaishnava Aparadha, Prabhuji. That I wanted to share.
Yes, Dhritarashtra done Vaishnava Aparadh not only towards the Pandavas, but such a great personality like Vidura himself, one of the Mahajanas, Yamaraj, Bhishma himself, one of the Mahajanas, Yamaraj. Their own good instructions he never paid any heed to. So this was also one of the reasons. Hare Krishna. So one more point I wanted to mention, Prabhuji's Mataji's. As part of the closed book exam, to be honest, I am not really stressing on devotees recollecting these verses or be able to quote these verses or references as part of your answer. We are keeping it very simple. But for the open book exam, which is soon coming, I am planning it at the end of Canto 1, which has total 19 chapters. So just around 3-4 more chapters to go. So in that, the questions, and I remember that I have to give you a sample question and an answer. But in that, definitely the expectation is that to explain points, devotee should be able to quote relevant references, not any ad hoc references, but relevant references from Srila Prabhupada's writings. Get used to referring to Srila Prabhupada's classes or see which are the relevant verses from what we have learned. One doesn't need to be a Pandita, but whatever, these are all famous verses from what we have learned. So get into a habit of noting these down and also use your own thought process to come up with more such references, which will come very handy when we are writing open book essays on Srimad Bhagavatam. Don't expect the questions to be straightforward, where you can directly find the answers in the Srila Prabhupada's purport. Okay, Prabhuji's Mataji's, please get used to these references. See,
Yes.
for example, when today I was checking these famous verses 3:25:20, how is the recitation done? Srila Prabhupada's classes itself, I found around 2 to 3 classes on this verse. And then it came to be known how this verse is so important. Prabhupada himself has spoken 2-3 number of times minimum. These are available on YouTube. Similarly, this verse on the right hand side is very famous, 3:25:25, which is spoken by Kapila Muni to Mother Devahuti. So once you go through Srila Prabhupada's classes on these verses, probably you will get few more references. So we don't want to fill our answer with just references left, right, and center, but at least we should be able to appreciate the subject and more by seeing those, referring to those verses which Srila Prabhupada uses. Hare Krishna. So let us proceed with the verse. Text 9. And we will have a group exercise in the end from all these recollections of Arjuna. Okay. So pay proper attention to these verses that we are going through. Text 9. Who is the devotee? Anybody would like to recite Prabhuji's Mataji's? Other Lalita Vinodini Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Yat Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yat Tejasa Nripashiro. Shall I read completely?
Yes, recite. Yes, Mataji. You can recite
Yat
completely.
Tejasa Nripashiro Angrim Aham Makhartam.
Yate
Aryo Anujastava Gajayuta Sattva Viryaha. Tena Hritaha Pramathanat Makhaya Bhupa. Yanmochita Sadanayan Balimadvarete.
Translation.
Yes, Prabhuji. Translation by Srivendra Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Your respectable younger brother who possesses the strength of 10,000 elephants killed by his grace, Jarasandha, whose feet were worshipped by many kings. These kings had been brought for sacrifice in Jarasandha's Mahabhairava Yajna, but they were thus released. Later they paid tribute to your majesty.
Thank you, Mataji. The purport is very long. We won't read through the whole purport, but we will only go through the salient points. So here, Arjuna is recollecting the episode where Krishna, Arjuna, and Bhimasen, they visited Jarasandha, and he being a very, materially speaking, a very charitable Kshatriya king, he agreed to give them charity which they asked for a fight. And Jarasandha, Srila Prabhupada gives the background how, what was his, he was the king of the Magadha, but what was his father's name? Brahadratha. That King Brahadratha, who had two wives, he desired a child and he was not having a child. Finally, he got prasadam in the form of an apple from a sage, which was fed to the two queens, and both delivered child only the half body. And the king thought that it is useless, of no use, it doesn't have life. So the both halves of the body were thrown in a forest, where the she demoness Jara, who came with the intention of eating the flesh and blood of that child, she just connected the two halves and the child became alive and active. And seeing the king's despondency in not having a child, this demoness Jara, she felt compassionate and she came back to the king to hand over the child which she had formed by connecting the two halves, and desired that the child be named after her. So that's how he came to be known as Jarasandha, one whose body has been Sandha or joined together by the she demoness Jara. And Srila Prabhupada mentions how Jarasandha, from his childhood, he possessed many demoniac qualities, asuric qualities. He was related to Kamsa. He was the father-in-law of Kamsa. And when Krishna killed Kamsa, Jarasandha's animosity towards Krishna increased manifold times. He attacked Mathura how many times? 16 or 17? 16, 17 different times Jarasandha attacked, and his, along with other demons, attack on Mathura was also one of the reasons why Krishna moved all the Yaduvamshis to Dwaraka, why Krishna built Dwaraka fortress. And Srila Prabhupada mentions that how, in order to fulfill his ambitions, having demoniac mentality, he was a great devotee of Lord Shiva in order to get the requisite powers and desires sanctioned. So, yep. So, and how, when Jarasandha did agree to fight, there was a long battle long duel between Bhimasen and Jarasandha, where they fought morning to evening for many days. But Bhima was having difficulty in defeating Jarasandha and was getting frustrated. And finally, Lord Krishna gave a hint to Bhimasen by taking a blade of grass and bifurcating it by showing to Bhimasen how he can be killed. And then Bhima got clue and was able to kill Jarasandha. So this particular episode of such a powerful demon Jarasandha being killed by Bhimasen is being recollected by Arjun. So we proceed. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah, text 10. This is important. We will go through the purport. Who is the devotee? Keep your hands on Prabhuji's, Mataji's, whoever wants to recite. We will give chance to somebody who has not recited. Gita Mataji, have you recited? Don't recollect. Maybe you can recite.
Prabhuji.
Okay, fine. Okay, 1 second. 10. Yeah, text 10.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Patnyas Kavadhima Kalpata Mahabhisheka
Ajnastava
Padnastava
Abhishek.
Flagishtacharukabaram kitavai sabhayam.
Shlagishtacharukabaram
Sprashtam vikirya padayo patichatumukya.
Spashtam vikirya padayo patitashrutya.
Yastatstriyo kritah tesha vimuktakeshaha.
Yattatstriyo kritahastakeshah.
Takesha.
Text 10.
Yeah, translation, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
It was he only who loosened the hair of all the wives of the miscreants who dared open the cluster of your queen's hair, which had been nicely dressed and sanctified for the great Rajasuya sacrificial ceremony. At that time, she fell down at the feet of Lord Krishna with tears in her eyes.
Yes. So small purport, we can read through the purport.
Queen Draupadi had a beautiful bunch of hair which was sanctified in the ceremonial function of Rajasuya Yajna, but when she was lost in a bed, Dushasana touched her glorified hair to insult her. Draupadi then fell down at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna decided that all the wives of Dushasana and company should have their hair loosened as a result of the battle of Kurukshetra. Thus, after the battle of Kurukshetra, after all the sons and grandsons of Dhritarashtra died in a battle, all the wives of the family were obliged to loosen their hair as widows. In other words, all the wives of Kuru family become widows because of Dushasana's insulting a great devotee of the Lord. The Lord can tolerate insults upon himself by any miscreants because the father tolerates even insults from the son, but he never tolerates insult upon his devotees. By insulting a great soul, one has to forego all the results of pious acts and benedictions also.
Yes. So thank you, Mataji. Here, many important points from this. Main important point is how Krishna does not tolerate any misbehavior, any insult committed towards his own devotees. If there is a somebody misbehaves with the Lord, probably Krishna can still tolerate, but not when somebody misbehaves with his devotees. And here the example is quoted by Arjuna of Draupadi being insulted by Dushasan, where her hair, which were tied with the sanctified water as part of the Rajasuya Yagya ceremony, her hairs that knot was untied and her hairs were disheveled by Dushasana's touch. And Krishna, in fact, even Bhagavad Gita mentions that that particular act by Dushasana and encouraged by Karna and everybody else from the Kaurava side, it was the beginning of the end of the Kurus. Lord Krishna personally did not take anything as much seriously as that particular insulting of Draupadi. Because Draupadi, first of all, being a chaste lady, and on top of that, being a pure devotee of the Lord. So here Arjuna mentions that Krishna desired to loosen the hairs of all the wives of the Kauravas. That means make them widows. That means having their husband killed because of the offense they had done by insulting Draupadi in the whole assembly. This was held very, very against them by Lord Krishna. And also, it is explained by insulting a great soul, especially a pure devotee of the Lord, different types of good things that we have accumulated even in our earlier lives, including the pious acts, including various types of benedictions. So I have quoted a verse in as part of the slide, which shows what all one can lose through if we are not careful about dealing with the devotees. So that verse comes in the next slide. We will come to that in a while. But before that, some of the examples I have quoted here. First example is Maharaj Rahugan, Rahugan misbehaving with great devotee Jada Bharata because of his ignorance of his position, and subsequently lamenting that mistake. So, Gita Mataji, please continue with this verse. Naham.
Naham Vishanke Suraraja Vajram.
Naham
Naham
Vishanke
Vishanke
Suraraja
Rajavajram.
Natra Traksha Sulan Nayam Sya Danda.
Natyatra
Natyatra danda.
Nagni Arkhas Sumanila
Sulastra
Vittapastra. Chanke Prasham Brahma Kulavamana.
Translation.
My dear sir, I am not at all afraid of the thunderbolt of King Indra, nor am I afraid of the serpentine, piercing trident of Lord Shiva. I do not care about the punishment of Yamaraja, the superintendent of death, nor am I afraid of fire, scorching sun, moon, wind, nor the weapons of Kuvera. Yet I am afraid of offending a Brahmana. I am very much afraid of this. SP 5.10.17.
Yes. So here, Rahugan Maharaj is saying different astras of the Devatas, including the Vajra of King Indra, including the trident of Lord Shiva, or including the punishing danda of Yamaraj, that he is not afraid of any of these as much as he is afraid of committing an offense at the lotus feet of a devotee. So we have to be very, very careful, and we won't recite all the verses, otherwise it will take very long. Second example is given of the great mystic sage Durvasa, who offended Amrish Maharaj and went through all the upper, middle, lower planetary systems and even went up to Vaikuntha, approaching Lord Vishnu. But Vishnu mentioned his inability to protect Durvasa from Sudarshan Chakra because of him having offended Amrish Maharaj, the pure devotee of the Lord. And Lord Vishnu glorifies Amrish Maharaj by saying that such a devotee does not know anyone in his heart other than me, and I don't hold anyone else in my heart apart from such a pure devotee. Ultimately concluding that if you want to protect your life, go and beg forgiveness from Maharaj Amrish. And we see that Maharaj Amrish did not feel himself qualified to forgive Durvasa Muni, but he prayed to Sudarshan Chakra that if I have done any pious activities, please just let go of Durvasa Muni. He didn't say that, oh, Durvasa has come to his senses and please forgive him. He didn't feel himself eligible for that. He prayed to Sudarshan Chakra based on the strength of his own devotional service, that if I have done any pious activities throughout my life, please be merciful and don't kill Durvasa Muni. And after this particular episode, Durvasa Muni glorifies the pure devotees of the Lord, that they are so merciful that although I did so much offense, this king has not yet even taken a drop after I have been chased by Sudarshan Chakra. He's still waiting for me, and even now he is not acknowledging that I did indeed commit an offense. He is so merciful. And similarly, in the 10th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, here it is a very graphic verse, different things which are at risk and which we all would lose through if we persecute. Persecute means target unfairly. If we persecute any devotee, what all things we can lose is very graphically explained. Sorry, not in the 10th canto. This verse comes in the 10th canto, 4th chapter, 46 verse. So here it is mentioned, Ayu striyam yasho dharmam lokan ashish evacha hanti shreyamsi sarvani pumso mahat atikramaha. Mahat atikrama, that means trespassing as the word to word meaning, but in the translation Prabhupada says persecuting great souls, persecuting great devotees. Persecuting in plain English, it means unfairly targeting great souls. If anyone does that, then what all would be lost? It is mentioned, Ayu means the life will be shortened for such a person. Shriyam means the physical beauty. Janma Aishwarya Shrutashri, we remember Kunti Maharani's prayers. So all these things will be lost. Shriyam, the physical beauty will be lost. Yasha means the fame will be lost. All the religiosity and the credits that we have attained by those religious practices, they will be lost. Lokan Ashisha. Lokan means elevation to the higher planetary system, Swarga and all. If we have done pious activities, whatever we are supposed to attain, that will be lost. And Ashisha, all the good credits that we have gained, they will also be lost. If we persecute great souls, especially the devotees of the Lord. And there are many examples. Specifically, I have quoted example which comes in Lilamrita, which is of Mr. N, who was a very powerful person of his time, a corporator in Bombay Municipal Corporation, and politically very well connected person. It was his business that he used to offer somebody land in sale and then commit fraud by cheating that person, by taking away the money and not even giving the land to that person. So he had done some such frauds earlier, and he intended to do a similar fraud with devotees. When devotees did a transaction to buy the Juhu land, which was just a barren land, neglected piece of land, and not even a prime area in Mumbai at that particular point in time. But Srila Prabhupada was very intent on establishing a beautiful temple for Sri Radha Rasa Bihari Ji. And devotees got so frustrated because of the misbehavior of this Mr. N that at some point in time they wanted to give up. Tamal Krishna Maharaj called Srila Prabhupada and he said that I have agreed to not take the land. And although the money, the Lakshmi was paid from devotee side, and Srila Prabhupada was very heavy. Prabhupada said, then everything is finished if you have committed to give up on the land. And then devotees further started legally taking every single measure, not only legally, but even beyond that, when Mr. N arranged for devotees to be taken out of that place by force, there is a mention how one call even went to Thackeray Senior at that particular point in time, and how he called the commissioner of the municipal corporation and halted that assault on the devotees. And subsequently, what happens is this Mr. N, he dies out of heart attack. And Srila Prabhupada, who was at that particular point in time in some temple in Australia receiving his morning massage, when the news came to him, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that it is Lord Narsimhadev personally who caused the demise of Mr. N. And subsequent to that, his wife repents that her husband had definitely wanted to cheat the devotees and persecute, basically take all their money but not give them the land. So wanted to commit a fraud even with devotees. And she came to Srila Prabhupada crying, please forgive my husband for whatever wrong deeds he did. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned that you are like my daughter. So whatever wrong deeds he has done, he has got his punishment and everything is uh, done and forgotten now. So no more, you just stay connected and don't worry, you're like my daughter. So Prabhupada gave her shelter even after so many persecutions by Mr. N, in terms of he also had connection with a publication where he did blaspheme the devotees by giving wrong publicity for the devotees, trying to physically harm them by beating the devotees, forcing them out of the place. But finally, he got his ayu, he got his life shortened by Lord Narsimhadev because of this misadventure. And Bhagavatam mentions not only life, even the further destinations, what our pious credit would have assured, even those destinations will be lost as well. So this is a very, very serious fact. Even if we are a fool, Krishna would still accept. But if we are smart and having negative attitude towards Krishna's devotees, that is very dangerous. We better be careful. Krishna will not tolerate such an attitude. Any questions, comments, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare Krishna. Everyone
Hare
is
Krishna.
very...
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, yes, Prabhuji.
Previous slide, there was one reference to the verse 5.10.17. Okay, Prabhuji. I just wanted that reference.
Hare Krishna. All. So this reference, this story of Mr. N's persecution is a very interesting one. It comes in Lilamrit and it also comes in Giriraj Swami Maharaj's book written on Juhu project. Title is Let There Be a Temple. So that was Srila Prabhupada's wish to have Sri Sri Radha Rasa Bihari temple on Juhu land. Hare Krishna. If there are no other questions, then we proceed. Oops, already 2 o'clock. Yes. So just to save time for the next verse, I will just read the translation and then we go to the proceed to the next verse for recitation. Next episode, Arjuna is recollecting is that of Durvasa Muni agreeing to Duryodhana's request to visit Pandavas during their exile and putting them in trouble when they hardly had any means of feeding anyone because they were living in a very austere circumstances. During our exile, Durvasa Muni, who eats with his 10,000 disciples, intrigued with our enemies to put us in dangerous trouble. At that time, he, Lord Krishna, simply by accepting the remnants of food, saved us. By his accepting food, thus, the assembly of Munis, while bathing in the river, felt sumptuously fed, and all the 3 worlds were also satisfied. So Arjuna is recollecting how this episode unfolded, and it was Krishna who asked for one small grain of food which was stuck on that particular Akshay Patra. He asked that one grain of food to Draupadi, and once Krishna accepted it, all the disciples of Durvasa Muni and Durvasa Muni himself felt as if they were completely satisfied after having sumptuous prasadam, and Pandavas were saved from the anger and curse of Durvasa Muni. This incident proves that the Lord is the greatest mystic and therefore he is known as Yogeshwar. Another instruction is that every householder must offer food to the Lord, and the result will be that everyone, even a company numbering 10,000, even a company of guests numbering 10,000 will be satisfied because of the Lord's being satisfied. That is the way of devotional service. So this is a very important point for the householders. We also saw in recent chapters that we studied in Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1 that proper way to receive a householder, we should not, proper way for a householder to receive a guest, we should not let any guest go back from our home without feeding them sumptuously prasadam. That is the primary duty of a householder. What to speak of a guest? As per the Vedic custom, one is advised to even check on the street if there is a hungry person and make sure that they are all well fed. And Srila Prabhupada often gives the reference to this particular injunction from the scriptures. Yasmin tushte jagat tushtam. If the Supreme Lord is satisfied, everyone is completely satisfied. And this is also a famous verse from Canto 4, that Krishna is like the root of the tree. If we water the root of the tree, all the branches, leaves, twigs, they get nourishment. So we proceed. All right. So let us recite this verse, text 12. There are so many devotees who have not recited today. Very quiet. Hare Krishna, Jagadananda Prabhu, and Ishwari Murari Priya Mataji, Dhanya Dhameshwari Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Would you like to recite, Prabhuji? You or Mataji? Anyone?
I will recite Prabhuji.
Okay, Mataji.
Yattejast Bhagavan Yudi Sulapanir
Yattejasa
Vishamapita Sagirjo Ashratam Adan Nijam Me
Visma Pita Sagirijo Astramadhanujami
Anye Api Chaham Amunaiva Kalevarena
Ane Acha Muneva Kalevarena
Prapto Mahendra Bhavane Mahat Asanardam
Prapto Mahendra Bhavani Mahadvasanardam. Translation.
It was by his influence only that in a fight I was able to astonish the personality of God, Lord Shiva, and his wife, the daughter of Mount Himalaya. Thus he, Lord Shiva, became pleased with me and awarded me his own weapon. Other demigods also delivered their respective weapons to me. In addition,
I was able to reach the heavenly planets in this
present body and was allowed a elevated seat.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So, which were the weapons that Arjuna collected, Prabhuji's Mataji's? From Lord Shiva, which weapon did he collect?
Pashupatastram, Prabhuji.
Pashupatastra. And from Lord Indra, which was the weapon did he collect? Indra. Sorry.
Gandiva.
I believe Gandiva, if I'm not wrong, it is from Agni, but I have to confirm. It is from Agni, yeah. So Agnidev gave Gandiva bow, and like that, so many other weapons, different devatas, they gifted Arjuna, rewarded Arjuna with because of his valor that he showed after he had visited the higher planetary systems. And when Pandavas were in exile, this was Lord Krishna's specific plan to send Arjuna to higher planetary systems to collect the wealth and also to get different weapons, because Krishna knew in future for sure Pandavas will have to get into a battle with Kauravas for establishment of religion. So Krishna specifically had arranged for Arjuna to travel to the higher planetary systems. And in this purport, Srila Prabhupada, again, this is a long purport, so we won't go through everything. But Srila Prabhupada explains how when Arjuna went to the assembly of the Devatas, Indradev was sitting on the throne. Even in the humanly body, as such, nobody can go to the higher planetary systems. But because Arjuna was a great devotee of the Lord, empowered by the Lord, Indradev granted Arjuna a seat on his own throne. On his own throne. As such, Arjuna is Indra's son. And subsequently, Lord Shiva was also pleased in duel with Arjun. Arjuna was able to defeat Indradev. So many astonishing feats he could commit only because of Lord Krishna's empowerment. Yeah, and Prabhupada mentioned that in the same human body, which is earthly body, Arjuna was able to visit the heavenly planet, which is not ordinarily possible. And Prabhupada mentions in the purport how that's why moon is also a heavenly planet. So to try and visit these planets using our earthly body is not an intelligent option, because the scriptures give the rules such that nobody with the earthly body can go as it is and reside there. we will also only see darkness, stone and all that. But we won't be able to see and appreciate the beauty of the moon as a heavenly planet by our mechanical means. And this has been discussed by Srila Prabhupada in many conversations. Hare Krishna. Any devotee had raised his hand or her hand? Prabhuji's mother, who had raised?
Prabhu, Hare Prabhu, I can read 13 verses. Hare Krishna.
Sure, Devika Mataji. 1 second. So let me just check. Yes, and Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that all these favors were possible for Arjuna to be received only because of pleasing Lord Krishna. And whereas the worshippers of the Devatas, so Srila Prabhupada explains this position very nicely, that when we are worshipping Devatas, expecting some boon from them, it is also worshipping Krishna only, but in an indirect manner. And not only it is an indirect worship, the benefits that we receive, they are also partial, not complete. Partial means they will be taken away at some point in time, and even for the temporary period we get them, we will have karma bandhana, we will have the bondage of fruitive reactions. But when we get benefit from Lord Krishna, then it is eternal. So if we want to truly please the Devatas, then we approach the Devatas in relation to Lord Krishna, then they are truly pleased. And there are so many instances. Like in this verse, we saw instances of Indra being pleased with the Lord Shiva being pleased with the Lord, and they were all pleased because of Arjuna's position as a great devotee of Lord Krishna, not because Arjuna worshipped them one-on-one for any material benefit. And there are so many other examples we see in the scriptures, like which is the picture on the right, Prabhuji's Mataji's? On the rightmost? Quickly. Sadatushta Prabhu, Ajit Tiwari Prabhu, Anand Vilas Prabhuji.
Except Ashpatastra.
That is the top one, the right one, rightmost. What is Lord Shiva doing?
Shiva showing to favor to Prachetas.
Yes. What was the reason for Lord Shiva showing the favor?
Because Arjuna is Krishna's devotee.
Yeah, that is for Arjuna. But in that picture, who is he showing favor to? Lord Shiva. The rightmost picture.
In the down, Prabhu.
No, there are 3 photos.
Right.
To the rishis?
In the rishis? Yes, but who are those rishis? Prachetas. Why is Lord Shiva pleased with the Prachetas? What they were doing, which attracted Lord Shiva's attention?
Rudragi, Prabhu.
Rudragi, that was the benediction. Yeah, that was the favor shown by Shiva. But what was the reason for that favor to be shown? What Prachetas were doing? Did they pray to Lord Shiva to appear? What they were doing? They were collectively rendering devotional service to Lord Krishna in a cooperative spirit, which attracted the attention of Lord Shiva. Prachetas did not pray specifically for Lord Shiva to appear, but it was seeing their cooperation in rendering devotional service to Lord Krishna that Lord Shiva got very impressed and attracted and appeared before them and taught them the vidhi, taught them the process of pleasing Lord Krishna in the form of Rudragit, which is again a glorification of the Lord. So we see that on one hand, we have the Devata worshippers who approach them for material benefits, and these Devatas are not as much pleased. It is like their obligation, mandate, that they have to give benedictions to their worshippers if they follow ABC steps. But in case of devotees, these Devatas are spontaneously pleased and they offer something which is long lasting and substantial. They don't offer material benefits which are temporary to devotees. They offer devotional service like Rudra, Lord Shiva, he taught the Prachetas how to render devotional service, how to please Lord Krishna through this Rudra Geet. And subsequently, Lord Vishnu also appears being pleased with the Prachetas subsequent. So this is one example. Another example, what is the last picture, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Third one.
Bhadrakali protecting Jadabharata from the
Jada Bharat.
dacoits. I think
Yes.
it's already mentioned in the slide, Prabhuji. We didn't
Yes.
read it.
Yeah, but yes, I am expecting devotees to explain. Did Jada Bharat pray to Mother Kali? Did he pray?
No, he didn't pray.
He didn't pray.
He didn't pray
Yeah.
because the dacoits were trying to sacrifice him.
Yes.
Okay?
So dacoits were trying to sacrifice, kill Jada Bharat, and he, being a great devotee of the Lord, Bhadrakali could not tolerate, and the statue of Bhadrakali broke, and she herself decapitated all the dacoits and played with their head just like a football. Of course, this is not mentioned in the purport, but she really was angry with the dacoits for offending a great devotee of Lord Krishna. So the conclusion is that all these devatas, they are spontaneously pleased with the devotees, and if we want to please them, then we don't have to worship them separately. We can respect all of them, respect them in relation to service to Lord Krishna. Then they are more pleased. And I was hearing one example from a devotee on this particular point. He said, just like if a chief minister is visiting, for example, and he's visiting with his principal secretary and all other officers in charge. So they are definitely important. But we keep garlanding the principal secretary, not showing proper respect, due respect to the chief minister. Then the principal secretary is going to feel awkward because he would definitely not appreciate he being respected when his boss is being neglected. So if we respect the devatas, acknowledging their great position, like say for example, recently we had this Ganesh festival. So if we acknowledge the contribution of Ganeshji in terms of writing Srimad Bhagavatam on the dictation of Vyasadev, in terms of his ability that he receives, by worshipping Lord Krishna to remove all the obstacles on the path, then Lord Ganesh will be more pleased rather than somebody approaching him directly for material benefits. Any questions, comments, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare Krishna, we have to quickly proceed.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, can I request you to explain the second one again, the Prajapatis, that is Shiva got pleased and taught Rudra Geet to the Prajapatis.
Prachetas, yeah.
But can you explain like what made him get pleased? Because I think I little lost the connectivity, so I couldn't follow.
So the Prachetas, who were all the 1,000 different sons of 1,000 or whatever number, the 100 different sons of Maharaj Prachina Barhi, they left home together to practice Krishna consciousness in the mood of cooperation. So that mood of cooperation to try to understand Lord Krishna, it really pleased Lord Shiva. They were not praying to Lord Shiva one-on-one to appear and give any benediction. But Lord Shiva voluntarily appeared, seeing their cooperative spirit and endeavor to understand Lord Krishna. So he said, okay, you have set out for that. So I will teach you how to render devotional service and please Lord Krishna. And he, being one of the authorities of devotional service, he taught the Prachetas this Rudra Geet. And subsequently, we see following this method, Prachetas did achieve perfection. They did achieve the darshan of Lord Vishnu because of their cooperative spirit and devotional service. Is it okay, Mataji?
Yeah, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. So basically, what you're telling is they want to know, understand Krishna as an absolute truth. So they were together, and automatically Shiva appeared out of his own interest. Because is that right, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji. So devatas will automatically be pleased if we become nice devotees. Okay, and we also respect devatas in their service to Lord Krishna, not separately.
Right. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Sorry for this.
Hare Krishna. All right.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Ajit Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, where can we refer this Rudra Geet?
It is
Any
there.
PDF for it?
Yeah, so you can refer to directly Srimad Bhagavatam and fourth canto, and I can give you exact verses also. Okay. The chapter itself is entitled "The Song of Lord Shiva," Rudra Git. So you can check
Okay. I
fourth
will
canto.
check. Sure. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so let us proceed.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Devika Mataji.
Prabhu, you are mentioning about Prajatas cooperative method they're doing the service. What does it mean, Prabhu?
Cooperative method means, say for example, they had set out together to achieve Lord Krishna. So cooperative spirit means, say for example, opposite of that, that it is not that one Pracheta wanted to just perfect his life and leave aside his brother. They had together wanted to achieve Lord Krishna as their ultimate goal of life. So that is cooperation. That means not only I be perfect in my life, I also help all my contemporaries.
Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Maybe they were doing some Harinam Sankirtan kind of thing, probably.
Yeah, so subsequently they did. So Rudra Gita is nothing but glorification of the Lord. So they did follow that method subsequently. But Rudra was the one like who taught them out of his own pleasure that let me help you in your mission, what you want to achieve. Is that all right, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Okay. So let us proceed to this verse, and Devika Mataji, you can recite. So 1 second. All right. Text 13.
Text. Hare Krishna. Shloka
Hare,
30.
yeah.
Tatraiva me viharato bhujadanda yugmam.
Tatraiva me viharato bhujadanda yukma.
Dhandiva Lakshmanam arati vadaya devaha.
Dhandiva Lakshmanam
Sendraha shruta yat anubhavitam ajamida. Tenyaham adya moshitaha purashena bhumna.
Tenahamadya mushitah purushena bhumna.
Translation. When I stayed for some days as the guest in the heavenly planets, all the heavenly demigods, including King Indradeva, took shelter of my arms, which were marked with the Ghandiva bow, to kill the demon named Nivata Kavacha. O king, descendant of Ajamidha, at the present moment I am bereft of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by whose influence I was so powerful.
Yes, so Arjuna is really missing Lord Krishna, remembering all these instances of Krishna showing favor by revealing that Devatas by default they are supposed to be much more, many more times powerful than the normal human beings, ordinary human beings. But here, even Devatas are seeking help of a human being, Arjuna, in fighting the demon, and which was made possible only because of Lord Krishna's empowerment given to Arjuna. So Devika Mataji, you continue. Text 14.
Okay. Edbhandavah kurabala abdim anantaparam.
Yadbandava kurabalabdim anantaparam.
Ekarathena tatare ahamatiriya sattvam.
Eko rathena tatari ahamatiya sattvam.
Pratyarutam bahudanam cha maya paresham.
Pratyarutam bahudanam cha maya paresham.
Tejaspadam manimayam cha rutam shirobhya.
Tejaspadam Manimayam Charutam Shirobhya. Translation.
Translation. The military strength of the Kauravas was like an ocean in which there dwelled many invincible existences, and thus it was insurmountable. But because of his friendship, I, seated on the chariot, was able to cross over it, and only by his grace was I able to regain the cows and also collect by force many helmets of the kings, which were bedecked with jewels that were sources of all brilliances.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Mother. So here in this particular verse, Arjuna is recollecting a very interesting episode from the exile time of the Pandavas. So the last 1 year of the exile was Agyatavas, incognito. So when Pandavas were living in incognito, different Pandava brothers and Draupadi had taken different roles. Specifically, Arjuna, he was fulfilling the curse of Urvashi, which he had received while visiting the heavenly planets, where he did not accept her proposal, and Urvashi cursed him to be a eunuch for 1 full year. So during that last 1 year of exile, Arjuna was a eunuch called Brahannala, teaching dance and singing to different princes in King Virat's kingdom. And one time it so happened that this kingdom of King Virat, it was attacked from the south by certain forces, and King Virat had 60,000 plus cows, and these attackers wanted to steal those cows. And King Virat and one of his son and many of the army, most of the army, they were busy defending the kingdom from that southern attack when the Kauravas, they attacked from the north side. And this other son of Virat, who was the younger son, the brother of Uttara, called Uttar, he, in a very, he was, he had valor, but he was very childish, like in front of the strength of the Kauravas. And before going to the battle, he proclaimed within the kingdom that I am going to single-handedly kill all the Maharathis who have attacked from the north. And but he was in search for a charioteer, and Arjuna, who was in the form of this dance teacher Brahannala, in the form of a eunuch, he told Draupadi, who, if I'm not wrong, she had taken the role of a cook or a maid cook within the kingdom, Malini, to tell the princesses, that means the daughters of Virata, to tell their brother Uttar that Brahannala is a very good charioteer, and you carry her with you and she will help you navigate through the battlefield. Because Brahannala had helped Arjun, that is the message Arjun sends. That Brahannala, I have helped Arjun earlier in the battlefield, so I know how to drive a chariot. You take me with you. And Uttara initially was a bit hesitant how to take a eunuch in the battle, but then he didn't have much option. So finally he opted for Brahannala to be taken as a charioteer in fighting the battle. But when they actually reached the battlefield, Uttar, he dropped all his strength. He became completely scared and fearful, seeing the Maharathis from Kaurava side, including Krupacharya, Karna, and here it is mentioned Drona, Bhishma, sorry, not Bhima, Bhishma, and everyone. And it is explained that Uttar basically wanted to run off from the battlefield. And literally, he asked Arjun to reverse the chariot and take him back into the kingdom. But Arjun stopped him from doing that, and Uttar got down from the chariot, started running in fear of the Kaurava Maharathis, and everybody was laughing. And Arjuna stopped him that this is not a proper behavior for a Kshatriya. You don't worry. You do one thing, you take the reins of the chariot and I will fight on your behalf. And then subsequent story goes that Arjuna asked him to take the chariot to a crematorium ghat where Arjuna had hidden all the heavenly weapons. And Brahannala got all those heavenly weapons and single-handedly fought and defeated all the Maharathis of the Kauravas. And Arjuna is remembering here how that defeating of all the Maharathis on the Kaurava side single-handedly in this form of Brahannala, it could be possible only because of Krishna's empowerment. And when the cows were saved and Brahannala brought Uttara back into the palace, by now the identity of Brahannala as Arjuna had already been revealed. So Arjuna stopped Uttar from revealing to everyone that he had fought and said that you take the credit. But Uttara felt very embarrassed and he revealed that it was not me, it was Arjuna who saved our kingdom when I was wanting to run away from the battlefield. And this saved not only the honor of Maharaj Virata, but being pleased with the valor of Arjuna, Maharaj Virata agreed to give his daughter Uttara in marriage to Abhimanyu as Arjuna's daughter-in-law. So Arjuna is remembering all these favors that are done by Lord Krishna. So this is a very wonderful discussion you can read through. It is not mentioned in detail, but if we refer to Mahabharata, this episode comes in great detail. So I wanted to have a group activity, but we still have at least 1, 2, 3 more verses. So maybe we will do it beginning of the next session. But these remembrances of Lord Krishna are very, very potent, Prabhuji's, Mataji's. Any questions, comments anyone has so far what we have seen? Hare Krishna. Do you all appreciate the feelings of Arjun? How meticulously he is remembering all these favors, and one by one, he is not skipping any. All major incidences that happened throughout where Krishna personally protected the Pandavas and empowered Arjun.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, this will come under Smaranam, no?
This will come under Smaranam, yes, and we will also see the analogy, the comparison that is made by Arjuna 2 verses down the line on this protection that is offered by Lord Krishna to another great devotee of Lord Krishna, Prahlad Maharaj. How Narsingadev protected him, Arjuna compares that Lord Krishna protected us in the same manner in which Narsingadev protected Prahlad Maharaj because of his intense smarana.
Clear.
Hare Krishna. Any other devotees have any comments, questions? Anything you want to share, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhu, sorry, Prabhu, 2 small doubts. So, when we revise for the exam also, will that come under Smarana?
When we revise for the exam, you mean, can you elaborate?
Sorry, no, Prabhu, like when we revise, we'll be thinking of the same thing, right? Like Srimad Bhagavatam, what you're teaching, so will that also come under the classification of Smarana?
Yes, definitely. Each and every of these episodes that we are going through, if we recollect any point, and we should go through in great detail, what we are discussing is only scraping the surface. So it definitely improves our smaranam.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Can you stop the live recording, Mataji? I wanted to announce something. Let me see if I can stop.
Prabhu, I can't because you're the host, so you can only stop.
Okay, 1 second. Oops.